This one time in Kankakee, I kidnapped a plaster cow from Perry Farm Park.
So I walk out of my bedroom door and I hear a police radio.
Candy in the corner.
And I go around the corner and I'm face to face with the cow.
Every town has its landmarks. Statues, parks, old buildings. They're the backdrop to our lives. But every once in a while, someone decides to move the backdrop. Welcome to this One Time in Kankakee from the WVLI Podcast Network. I'm Jake Lamore. Today we have a story about what happens when teenage boredom, a shopping cart, and a life-size plaster cow collide on a hot summer night. It's a story about a crime that wasn't really the crime, and how a mother's first rule of parenting, if it's funny, you're not in trouble, was put to the ultimate test. Shane Whitlock is a father of three now. He works at a local bowling alley and makes music under the name Scrubby Dubby. He describes his life today as peaceful, controlled, and organized. But back in 2008, things were a little different.
Back then, I was kind of directionless in life. I didn't have any huge ambitions or goals, so I just kind of lived life for fun. You know, whatever sounded exciting or fun to me. There wasn't much to do. Not everybody had phones. So we would spend most of our summers and free time here at Perry Farm. That's what we did.
Perry Farm Park, for those who don't know, is a sprawling public space in Bradley, Illinois. It has walking trails, playgrounds, and the Bourbonnais Township Park District's Exploration Station Children's Museum. And for years, standing guard outside the museum was a certain black and white bovine statue.
Honestly, I really wish I knew what made me think I should take this shopping cart and ride it through the back trails into Perry Farm, but I really have no rhyme or reason for it. It just happened.
It started with a shopping cart, a big one. The kind with 2 child seats that Shane impulsively borrowed from a nearby Jewel-Osco. He pushed it all the way to Perry Farm, where he met up with his brother and a few friends. It was late, after midnight, and that's when inspiration struck.
We were just kind of standing over by where the cow was at the time on the north side of the exploration station, and cart in hand, I look over to the right, and there's this cow that seems to maybe naturally fit in this cart. So we decided to try it out.
There was just one problem. This was not a small statue.
The thing probably weighed, I feel like I'm not even exaggerating when I say this, I feel like it was at least 500 pounds. Me and my 2 friends, we tried to pick up the cow, and we weren't quite getting it up enough. But we were still kind of determined. And then lo and behold, one of our group friends just happens to be at Perry Farm at 9. No, it had to be after midnight, maybe 2 in the morning, maybe. It was late. So we called a friend over, and they, without hesitation, helped us lift the cow. And with that little extra bit of strength, we were able to get it up and onto the cart.
And just like that, they were off. Shane and his brother pushing a 500-pound plaster cow in a shopping cart through the quiet, dark streets of Bourbonnais.
And then we started getting a little bit paranoid because we hadn't seen a single cop or person in a while. And just as we were thinking that, there was a guy sitting in his shed, his garage, drinking, and he was just hooting and hollering at us, having the time of his life, just seeing this cow roll down the street.
They hid the cow in a nearby cornfield for a few hours before deciding on its final destination, their mom's living room. After a monumental struggle to push it out of the field and get through the front door, the cow was finally home. And then Shane's teenage brain made another brilliant, impulsive decision. They went to Speedway for Polar Pops.
I crossed the road and saw this Wendy's banner hanging off the side of a dumpster fencing, and my dumb, impulsive self convinced myself that since it wasn't hung up properly and it was hanging over the side of a fence, that it was free to take. So just to be safe, I thought it would be smart to stuff it in my shirt. I don't know, it was a large banner, so stuffing it in my shirt looked like I was 9 months pregnant.
Stealing a 500-pound cow in the dead of night? No problem. Stealing a flimsy vinyl banner in full view of the street? That's another story.
The moment I hit the sidewalk on the other side, I saw red and blue lights and heard a siren. Turn around, and there's a cop telling me that I need to come speak with him. He had me pull out the banner, and he was like, okay, yeah, you shouldn't be doing that. I'm going to need you to put your arms behind your back. And he had to arrest me.
Meanwhile, back at the house, Shane's mom, Carrie Meents, was fast asleep. She had gone to bed early, not feeling well. She had no idea her living room had a new resident or that her son was now in police custody. Her rude awakening came around 5 a.m.
And I woke up to his friend going, Carrie, you have to get up. And I'm like, why? Shane did something stupid. So I'm getting out of the bed, walk out of my bedroom door, and I hear a police radio. And I go around the corner, and I'm face to face with the cow. And I just went to the door because my brain's thinking, well, he's here because of this cow. He wasn't there because of the cow. He was there because he had saw Shane running from Wendy's with the chicken nugget sign.
Think about that for a moment. You're woken up, told your son did something stupid, and you stumble out of your bedroom to find a police officer at your door and a life-size farm animal in your living room, and the cop is there for the other thing. Carrie's biggest fear at that moment? Not the cow, not the arrest, but her job.
My whole thought was I had to go to work and tell my boss, the state's attorney, Jamie Boyd, that my son got arrested. So I was scared.
After picking up Shane from the Bradley police station, the mission was clear. The cow had to go back. Shane's first suggestion was less than ideal.
I suggested, after watching, teenagers like their spooky movies and stuff, horror movies, I thought the smart thing would be to chop it up and hide it in the walls. That didn't pass. My mom shut that down.
So as the sun began to rise, Shane and his friends started the long, arduous journey of carrying the cow back to Perry Farm. No shopping cart this time, just 2 teenagers and 500 pounds of plaster.
Like I said, it was dark when we left and sunrise when we came. We had to stop like every 5 feet and catch our breath, rub our hands from the calluses and stuff we were getting. It was the hardest I've ever worked in my life.
Carrie walked with them for a block to make sure they were headed in the right direction. And of course, that's when they saw another cop.
Squad car, unmarked squad car comes around the corner. Shane, just drop the cow. So they drop the cow, the squad car pulls up, he looks at me as he's rolling down the window. I said, they're taking it back. And that officer, I don't know who that was, asks their names, and Shane gives him his name, and the officer goes, Shane, you're having a bad day. And he's, all right, just if you take it back, we won't do anything.
They eventually got the cow onto the park property, propped it against a tree, and tried to leave. But another officer spotted them. Apparently, on the property wasn't good enough. He told them to put it back exactly where they found it. In the end, the cow was returned, unharmed, and the consequences? Well, the manager from Wendy's never showed up to court, so the banner theft charges were dropped. The park district, seeing the cow was safe, declined to press charges either. Shane walked away with nothing but a wild story. a story his mom's co-workers at the state's attorney's office found hilarious.
It got through the office at work real fast, so people on lunch were going over to Perry Farm to see what cow my son took.
Today, the cow is still there, behind a fence now at the exploration station. Shane sometimes tells his daughter the story, framing it as a generational tale of escalating shenanigans.
So when my mom was my age, she stole one of those lawn geese and brought it to her mother. So I apparently upgraded that and brought her a full cow. So what I preach to my children is that story and beg them not to bring a freaking T-Rex or something to my house.
It's a reminder that sometimes the dumbest decisions make the best stories. A story of a night filled with bad ideas, hard labor, one very confused police department, and a single solitary witness who summed it all up.
That is the only human being besides cops that we saw that entire night. One drunk guy in a garage.
But to me, the mental image of just the whole, yeah.
I think that covers all the bases.
This One Time in Kankakee is produced by the WVLI Podcast Network. Special thanks to Shane Whitlock and Carrie Meents for sharing their story. I'm Jake Lamore. Thank you for listening. And if you have a story to share, shoot me an email at jake@milnermediapartners.com. And finish this sentence for me. This one time in Kankakee...
Stealing's bad, okay?